Stockton, you have to be delighted the way your team performed here this evening, winning this match in about 62 minutes.
Yeah, they did very well. We worked on some things after the weekend tournament, and a couple of things that really helped us. And that'll be a process still when we get back on the court practicing. So I think that we evened things out a little bit more. We worked with our middles on transition and making sure that they're our number one option, whenever we're transitioning out. So we kind of lost that this weekend. We started relying heavily on our outsides, and they just got too many sets, and we were unbalanced. So just really got with the middles and sat them down, and I think there was a little bit of a frustration level this weekend with them not getting the ball, and to be able to get them the ball back in their hand really balanced us out and made us very hard to stop.
Passing game was on the money, wasn't it?
It was, and we passed, actually. We didn't pass poorly over the last 2-3 weeks. Just really having the mindset to pass for the middle, and really invest in what we're doing a little bit more and being a little bit more precise with our offensive systems, both out of serve receive and in transition. I think that we did a better job identifying what kind of ball was coming in transition and really working to get that ball, the angles right for our middles to get the ball. 41%
on the attack stat. That's very impressive, Coach.
It is, it is, and I think, our middles are hitting high percentages across the board, even on their season stats, and we need to get them the ball more, and it's going to be our focus towards the end of the season, as always, to make sure we're balanced and make sure that's our number one option. So, those hitting percentages, there's been games where Ari and Zori are right there, and that's not atypical for them. So I like to see Yamilet being more aggressive at the net, and another thing we worked on today and in individuals in the last couple of days of practice on her being a little bit more aggressive and being more of a threat when she's in her front row rotations.
Actually, today she turns and just takes a big hit.
Yeah, and she's getting physically better. Her physicality is getting better for that position, and she was a hitter. She was a middle at Miami-Dade on their national championship team, so she's capable of turning and just bouncing really hard angles, and she's almost there to the point physically. When you transition from a middle to the setter and all of a sudden you're running for every ball, it's really draining, and she's finally getting her legs back, and it's taken a long time. It's the end of the season now, but those legs are starting to come back. It's starting to get easier for her to get reads and get to the ball a little bit quicker to set her offense, and she's tremendously athletic. She can play any position on the court, any. She can set. She could be the libero with the ball control. She could be a primary outside. She can play right side, or she can play middle. So she brings a lot to the table that a lot of different athletes don't.
Your freshman's growing up, Coach. You had, 10 aces tonight? She had 6 of them.
Yeah.
6 aces?
She's a great server and starting to get to the point where she's comfortable serving both the short zone and the deep float with pace. The right side, she's starting to get accustomed to that. She was a middle in high school and club too, so we're training her in a new position and starting to get comfortable over there. She can be a real force. She was a force in a couple of games this weekend and can be a force overall. She just has to mature just a little bit more.
Coach, is that the magic word right now? This club to continue to mature and gel. It really looks like in the last 2 weeks it's come a very, very long way.
We have, and I think the understanding of individual roles and taking responsibility in individual roles, some of the girls were just trying to keep their head above water there the first half of the season because it was so competitive in game situations and so much pressure on them. Is like, we called it the Hunger Games early on for some of those young freshmen and even the transfers, just try to survive. So we've learned a lot in some of the practice times and even learning through games. I think they're starting to feel more comfortable with what their responsibility is and what they need to do to make the team better.
Coach, this club has developed a little bit of a pattern. I know you have a little concern about it. It seems like after big wins, sometimes just a slight letdown. How do you work through that?
Just recognition that we're doing that. It became a pattern. I think that this time, after this last weekend, we had a little bit of flu. We have a little bit of adversity there, and the mental toughness tends to go away on this team. And I think they're starting to understand the importance of rankings and not dropping those games that you're supposed to win, but we still have a couple that just don't seem to understand just yet. And I think that after this past weekend, like I said, they were a little bit better on the uptake there. So just being able to persevere. What I teach as a coach is you need to be physically, mentally, and emotionally strong all the time. And if one is down, the other two need to get better. So if your body's physically tired, you need to play smarter. The mental part takes over, and the emotional part needs to stay steady all the time. So we work on those three things, and then also communication we add to that, just to make sure if you're in a rut, the way to get through it is to communicate out of it, not to get quiet.
One home match left on the regular schedule. One match left on the regular schedule. It's that time of year, isn't it?
It is. I'm excited. I like the postseason. That's I'm a competitive person, but we work all year and we hope to peak at the right time. I think we still have some things to work on, and the good thing is we can still get better. We have tremendous athletes that are still getting better, and we've got a bright future, I think.
See you on Sunday.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Head coach of the Cougars, Melinda Washington. They win tonight 3-0 against Central Baptist.